So good morning, it's the end of the week.
Hi.
And a fabulous way to end the week. Hi Alexandra. So today I'm joined by Alexandria Morrow, who is a model, a dancer and an actor, and has been modelling, I would say it's probably fair to say that from birth really, Alexandra, have you?
Since the 90s. Yeah.
It's so lovely to connect with you on here. I mean, we've met through social media. And it's just brilliant. I love making these connections with people. And we have got, I mean, we've just been talking before we've come on, and we've got so much to talk about. Where to start? How do you describe yourself to people?
Oh, goodness. It depends who we're talking to. As you know, being a model, you're talking to people in the industry is different from talking to like just normal people. I guess if we're talking to other people in the industry, then I try to give, as I recommend to all models and all performers, you try to introduce yourself with your titles of your craft. So I start out usually saying model, actress, dancer.
Yeah.
Also, all of us are content creators and influencers. So those are good things to add as well. If you don't have another one yet, you can automatically add those and then think of another brand type you want to add. But now's the time to like include all of the beautiful things about you into your title. So I've started to add yogi for that reason and influencer. We all need to, here I am advising it, but at the same time, it just feels weird saying it too.
I was going to say, do you feel really okay about owning it?
Yeah, we all are, but we have to like say that word for them to understand. And this is actually what I learned by Christiana. She's like, well, now we have to add the influencers so they know that we are professional influencers. Therefore, they can't get over with trying to charge us to influence for their brand, or not pay us, or not like collab legitimately, which is not charging, sending you something and then letting you do whatever you want, right? That's fine. But so by us putting influencer in the title, that's what she's saying, then they know they can't get over on us professionally. Because then that, like, we've taken that on as part of our profession, as well as model actress or model activist or model writer or model host or whatever else and you're doing. Add influencer to the end of it if you model.
You've got to sell yourself. You've got to.
Yeah.
So how long have you been modeling? How old were you when you first started modeling?
Well, I started doing it like physically when I was 2. I was in a fashion show, but I don't remember that. It was just my parents told me about that. But my first paid job that I remember doing was when I was 13, because I had to get a worker's permit, so like 12, 13. But I had started, I remember I tried out for Star Search, and I was like 10, 11 years old with braces, because I knew I was gonna end up modeling, so I wanted to get my teeth straightened before they got more messed up. So I had braces early on, and they came to town, and I wanted to audition. I was already like 5'8" or something, ridiculous, taller than my age, and I wanted to audition for a spokesmodel on the Star Search with Ed McMahon. And they're like, oh, that's cute, but you're too young. I actually need you to be at least 17, 18. And but we'll still let you do it. So I still did it. I still felt what it was like, and I knew in that moment that I'm all about this entire thing of performing on stage and TV and like all of it together. I just didn't know what it looked like, but I was already doing the act of modeling, dancing, and acting. But that was the first experience of like the show business part of it. And then I think, and then I had to prepare to get my real job, like my first real paid modeling job, which was for a catalog and clothing store in the mall that had a catalog. It was called the Units. I don't know if it's still around, but anyways, they needed you to get workers permit, because if you were too young to actually work, and at that age and that state and that time, it was like 17 to work. So I was 13, okay. So I had to get, I was introduced to it, like it was just defined to me as a job. So to bring that back to like trying to put that mentality back out there, because that's actually what it is. But because of the whole influencer social media thing, it seems to be not always understood as a job and respected as a job as much as it was when I was growing up.
Yeah, I mean, I am in total awe of younger models, because I would not have had the body confidence or the self-belief to have been able to do it when I was younger. And I love doing it now. And I really feel like I found my real calling and passion. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
But I'm in awe of the fact that you do it from such a young age and you had that confidence. How daunting was it? Did you find going into that industry as a young woman daunting? Did it knock your confidence?
Well, at that time, when I went into it like in the 80s, 90s, so it was, at that time, it was more about, like, if you were different and odd and awkward and gawky and tall and everything I was, my dad's 6'4", so I was tall and skinny like my dad, but I had big thighs like my mom, and beautiful like curves in certain places, and the big hair, like it was just very odd shaped, like fashion model partly, but not on the bottom. And but in the same sense, like back in those days, it was the odder you are, the more, like if you're tall and thin in any way and odd, different, you're with the models. So I was actually in ballet class, and my ballet teacher told my mom to take me out of ballet because I was too gawky and lanky and tall and like clumsy and not dancerly. So I should be a fashion model because that's where I fit in. And I had already done some, and so, but that confirmed it, that's, you know, that my mom helped guide me towards that more professionally and away from dancing. And then once I went to New York to continue professional modeling, I rediscovered dancing, because in New York is New York, and everybody at any type and age was accepted in dancing and arts. You know, there was so much more for everybody there at that time, that through the modeling, everyone's like, the hair, makeup people would be like, "Oh, are you a dancer too? You should dance. I think you're a dancer. You should go." And I would tell them, and they're like, "Well, no, you're in New York. They like tall for dancers. Go." So I started, but at that time, they only wanted you to model. If you're a model, you're only a model. That's it. So I had to sneak around my fashion agents to go to dance class and acting class and Broadway auditions, which I loved doing. I did 42nd Street one.
I mean, that's amazing.
And I was too tall for it, but I got to this final cuts. New York at that time, and still even more so now, I think now the whole world's more like that, but New York was more like embracing the arts, no matter what type you were, but they still wanted you to go into your types, but I wanted all of it. So I was in between modeling and being stuck in that box of like fashion model. You're just fashion, you're just editorial, that's it. That's what they would tell me. I would go and discover like commercial modeling, fit modeling, fitness, dance, acting, Broadway, singing, musical, everything that I could find in New York.
Yeah, I love that, because you weren't allowing them to put you in a box, were you? You were just you were being absolutely true to yourself.
They still thought they were, though. Like I would still go to what they wanted me to go to, but eventually, like social media took over, and we could put ourselves in the boxes. Literally. And how to embrace all of those and put, you know, like filter through all of that and represent all those pieces of me and in those boxes, so that I can present that to, you know, companies, brands, agents who nowadays are more than ever looking for artists, performers, influencers who do more than just that one thing that they do. Yeah, they want you to act, obviously. They're looking for an actor, but what else do you do? Yeah, they want you to model. They're looking for a model, but what else? They want to know what else we do. And because it makes us more human. And I think now also because of the pandemic too, and because the riots, it's a time where people are like, they've had it with fake or non-authentic or cookie cutter mentality, like just close-minded square mentality, and they want more inclusivity and like authenticity and beauty and what's and consumerism and all of it, and art and commercial and every part of the industry.
So are you excited about the future now coming out of the pandemic?
Yeah.
Do you think we're going to see huge changes in brands? I really hope so.
I talk about it and I want to cry, because it's for any of us who started pre-Me Too movement, we went through hell and back from all types of isms, from ageism. I mean, we were taught to lie about our age. So much so that now I'm having to like learn and train myself how to like not lie but not tell, because it is actually illegal for them to ask and judge us according to our age. So we're supposed to give age range. But back in those days, I mean, there were agents who would feed us drugs, feed us to predators, and teach us to lie about our age. So like we fought a lot of isms before Me Too, and the Me Too broke some of that, like the abuse isms, and I guess I can call it that, like issues with like abuse or being taken advantage of or degradation. That in itself is a big ism, and that would happen to all types, but a lot of the younger ones who didn't know, and then older ones would be like punished who did know. So then it created this like, well, wait, if you're older, then you know too much, so we don't want to hire you, because we're trying to filter in the minds the young ones to think that all these abuses are okay. So when Me Too happened, that broke that silence and exposed that. And I never thought I experienced some of that and I saw some of that. I got saved from what I heard and saw and know of way worse situations that I had. But we all experienced it on some level if we started pre-Me Too. And and now I still hear stories and I'm like, I can't even believe anything like that's still happening. But it is, because there's still cockroaches, you know, and people. But when it broke, I didn't think that I would live to see the day that would happen. That this would come back around for us. And so then when this whole racism thing broke, I didn't think I'd live to see the day where it would come back around for minorities of any sort of race or ism, of difference, the disability, size, age, gender, sexual orientation. Everyone now is being embraced. Every type of diverse, different non-cookie cutter kind of mentality. Anyone who's got anything authentic and real to give is now being embraced more than ever. And that's who is being sought after for by brands and designers, artists. I do fashion modeling, I do commercial modeling, I do art modeling, I do lingerie, bathing suit brands, products, right? And acting, film, television, and commercial. So I've been communicating with all these people in all those areas, and that is the consensus amongst everybody, is that they all want to jump on this new, it's not even just a bandwagon, like it's a new way.
New way of life. I really hope it is.
That is unprecedented. The union of our actors union in America and in LA said it herself. And I was already thinking that, I'm like, this is like huge. Like everyone now is really coming, like awakening to their senses and stepping up against like what the media says, what the industry says, what the, politics or whatever the ideal, oh, it has to be like this or that or the other. No, like we all have something to give. And that's what it has to be about, is what does each individual have to give to help make this vision, this product, this item, this idea, this art piece, this message, this story, whatever it is that's trying to be shared or sold. How can that artist bring that to life so what real aspects do they have about them that will help bring our real idea to a life to share with our followers and with their followers and with the world? Because right now everyone wants to share. I mean, everyone with half a brain and heart still left wants to share this good message of including everybody as someone special and beautiful, and having something beautiful and special to offer in this time. And
does it still feel like hard work though, getting jobs now you're getting older? Does it feel like you're still having to knock down those barriers and push all the time? Certainly because I find in the UK, certainly lingerie and swimwear, they very, very rarely use older models. And it's something that I'm really passionate about because we all have, different body shapes as we turn 40 and 50, and women want to be able to relate to other women of our age group, and I think we've still got a long way to go. Is it the same in the US, or do you think you're more advanced in that?
Well, from what I've been seeing, due to Ashley Graham and Christiana and Christina Teagues, I believe. And Liv Tyler's sister. So a lot of more like plus size models are getting out there in a way that is huge and respectable and breaking barriers for like all of us who aren't just basic, teenager stick figures. And I think since Ashley Graham was on Vogue and then got pregnant, and then Christiana has taken down a lot of barriers within New York. And I'm glad you brought this up, because I'm trying, like, it was hard for a minute to like get out of like pre-pandemic how it was, because now in the pandemic it's like, I'm seeing huge barriers being broken and wanting to be broken hugely since the riots and the pandemic by brands. I don't think we're seeing it like tangibly out there yet, because we're not all out, but it's happening. Like within our virtual industry, like all of the people who are hiring they're having these conversations now. And they're looking for older, shapelier, more real, more authentic, more now than ever. And before the pandemic, the fashion weeks that we did get in, I believe, Christiana got in New York Fashion Week right before LA. We were shut down the same week our castings were happening. Or like the fittings and the castings, and then the next week it was going to be. But so we didn't get it. But Christiana got New York Fashion Week, and I saw just from her post, but a whole lot of other ones that were trending with a lot of brands that had just big followings, and then like real size shapes of models and women, from plus size to real size to athletic size, like all types. And then there were some big brands with big audiences that walked the New York fashion runway this past season that have like models with disabilities or different types, and again, different sizes. Whenever you include different types, it's always going to be different ages. Like the first thing to be broken barrier, right, is the age, and then the size. And so the brands that are looking, and now race too. So those top three. So if you've got those three things clearly, any one of those three things to offer, you're already going to be a step ahead in the new.
But that should be the normal though, shouldn't it? We shouldn't even be having to have this conversation. It really should be the normal.
Out of like 50, 60 years of
I guess it takes
more.
time.
I mean, I think the last time they embraced bigger, more real size and aged women was like Marilyn Monroe, and they still tried to make her skinny.
Yeah.
So for like 50, 60 years of this mentality of that, you know, so it's, I feel like it's like, wow, like it's taken Me Too and the pandemic and the riots to really break this down. Like for me, it was like Me Too. I thought, okay, here we go. Like it's, but no, it was like levels of it. And they needed to like break the race thing to break the whole conversation to even be exposed in the first place in the industry. And now it is for sure, for every level of brand or casting or hiree or anyone who I've talked to or been a part of their conversation or seen or heard about during this time. That's the conversation out there, is that they are wanting more authentic types, races, ages, sizes. And so those 3-4 things, and then anything that goes within that is great too.
Well, let's see him, and I really hope. I mean, do you know what I love about you, Alexandria? You are so positive about the future and an industry, and the fact that you don't see age as a barrier, because it shouldn't be. And you know,
well, no, I not anymore. I did. Oh, don't get me wrong. I grew up being taught and told by agents how to lie about my age, like for so long that I think even when I met my husband, I lied about my age. I didn't even realize it. Even until years ago, I was talking to my mom, and she's like, "Oh, happy blah blah blah, many years," and I'm like, "Wait, no, aren't I only?" I'm like, "Oh my god, I really, like that's how." She said, "That's how much they pounded it into your heads to do that, is that you lost track of your real age." But I'm your mother. I know.
That's so funny. I mean, it's not funny that you've had to do that, but it's funny that you lied.
It's literally, I started so young, and from that young age, it was already like, oh, you need to be skinnier, you need to be younger. And when I was young, I looked older. Like I was 13, but I looked like, I went to frat parties. I looked like I was in college when I was a freshman in high school. I looked like freshman college. And so I was always told, you have to like lie about your age, be younger, even though I was already young. I was already like, I was always too old. You're always too old for dancing and modeling once you're past like puberty, back in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Lost days, right? Like it was crazy, but like so much that we had to like, we formed eating disorders, formed lies about our age, formed reasons why we had to accept certain things that were happening that shouldn't be accepted. It was so bad that like ageism was like the last thing, but we already knew that because it was like, obviously, duh, we have to lie about our age. And it's always been an exterior, especially if you have a voice now, or if you try to stand up for yourself as a professional, then it shows your age, and then all of a sudden they don't want you to work, and then they're trying to tell you you're too old, and you're like, you're older than me. Who are you? Because you don't want to hire me. I'm too old. You don't even know how old. Like,
why are we so scared of aging? Why do you think the industry and the fashion industry in particular are so scared of women particularly aging?
I think it's an ego thing. Because if you really think about it, it's like cultural, and it's maybe the time, but like back when modeling first started, like when muses, like when you live modeled, and that was like the only form of modeling, those were our ancestors models, right? But they were dancers and actors and performers, but they were all older and shapelier and more real and more defined. They weren't these young, like nothing, for the most part. Sometimes there were certain ones, but for the most part, they were all healthy. And so when it started, it was healthy women was like more attractive to the male of those ages, the dark ages. It's only like since I don't know, I hate to say it, but like I feel like kind of after Marilyn Monroe, and they tried to make her skinnier, and then the cocaine hit, the cocaine ages, and then like all of a sudden, the skinnier, the better, and then came us up. Like, okay, that's nothing, and you're doing cocaine. Well, at some point, you're gonna know that it's not attractive anymore. But the world kind of just kept going with that because social media and like putting out fake ideas of what some beauty is based on
skewed.
Kind of really what skewed. Happened because of a drug going in at a certain time and then taking over the mentality of the industry. And so it's not from a healthy place. And when they do that, it's actually not legal. Like the actors union goes to court over it, defending us of ageism. They took IMDb to court because they were requiring us to put our age on our IMDb. And the union's like, nope, nope. And now, since Me Too happened and a woman became president, she's a Latino woman, older, professional actress and model, and she became the president, and now she's taking diversity and like making moves and ageism and the sexual abuse and I mean, she's just taking on all of these things, plus now the COVID thing. So, but when I started seeing her take action within the union after Me Too, like actively the union is taking big action since Me Too. So that's huge for the whole industry. That means it just shifted our entire industry, like literally. So then everyone else, it's going to regulate from the union's regulations. So now everyone is more so on the lookout who is legit, right? They're more so on the lookout for people and brands who are judging us by race, age. Okay, so those are two absolutely now very illegal things for them to hire us or not hire us on. If you can prove it though, because a lot of it is also they'll just keep in their heads, right? Some of them they show, and if you catch them, that's a no-no. So be aware of those two things. And also if they try to make you compromise and do something else rather than what the job calls for, that's always something. And the union is now set up to take calls, and you can call even if you're not union, but even if you're a model, actress, dancer, and you're not union, but you experience some kind of ageism, racism, sexual abuse, sexual manipulation, anything, professional abuse, whatever, anything wrong. Hotline to share stories. And there's also an Instagram I'll give to you that maybe with the for sure the UK. I mean, I can still give you the hotline too, because I think
I'll share it.
I would still like to know. So because a lot of these people work on both. Definitely. They're like power players. So they're taking lists of abusers. Right. And so every time you call the hotline, they're putting this person on a list, and a lot of people are already on these lists. So those people will get check marks if they get called and they've already been on it.
That's such a good idea.
So it's very important because they could be uneven caught it, So they're open to anyone calling. So I'll share that. But then there's also an Instagram platform that started called No Pay, No Runway. And they started for models and all artists in the industry who are who experience something that they might get taken advantage of, or they were taken advantage of, or something that they're not sure about. And they research it and they expose it on the Instagram, and they don't follow the models back because they want them to not be affected by it. And So they're kind of like our undercover report too. And they purely exist just for the models and the artists, because they don't only take advantage of models now. I mean, makeup artists, hairstylists, male, female, every type. Pretty much like anyone who just doesn't know better that they should get paid or treated respectfully is getting a lot of scammed or used, abused, told that they're supposed to, this is the way you got to play, you got to work for free. I don't know if it's big in London, but in LA, it's like a virus. Like it's not just the talent, like it's all the artists involved. It's like photographer, it's like everyone. So now this no pay, no runway is existing. All of the artists are finding out about it, and they'll
exposing it.
And they're supporting it just by like everyone being aware of it. And it's like our own little like 911.
Despite all this,
despite
despite all the issues and the problems in the industry, you clearly love doing what you're doing.
Yeah,
because
it's about the art, right? It's an art. It's our performance art. But it's like, and I didn't know this growing up, but I see now, like in anything, it's about what you do with it, and there's a good side and a bad side, because there's good people and bad people. Like there's good doctors, there's bad doctors, there's good politicians, so it's the business behind what our art isn't always good, or hasn't always been good in the past. Especially in our industry. Out of most of the industries, I would say, has been irregulated since the beginning. And because it's so glamorized, most of the world has been unaware of all these issues, and they're just like numbed by it because they're entertained by us, and so they don't really think that we have issues. But really, a lot of them who have normal jobs have more regulations for being treated human and respectful, and not ageism or racism and all of these things that were illegal in other professions, that they're unheard of. But now everything's being exposed, and the rest of the world's finding out, oh, okay, all right, wow, so this isn't right. So the more we put out the education and experience, the education of what is right and what is versus what is wrong, and the way it is and isn't, and according to also your professional experience, and we share our experiences, even if they were bad. Because if the thing that kept us when I was younger from growing past that was not sharing these experiences enough.
Whereas now we all do share it.
They threatened our career and our lives and our families sometimes. But now it's like, I go back to Me Too, but thanks to Me Too happening, it created this like overall understanding, at least amongst women it started, but now it's amongst like every artist, minority, person who's different, professional, person who might not just know better, professional, like everyone in the industry is very much aware now, without having to go through as much before. When we would have to go through things and accept it and not talk about it, or forget it happened, or otherwise our careers were threatened, or
it makes me sad. It makes me sad that you have had to go through that to get to this point now, but I'm so glad that change is afoot and things are improving.
That's why when Me Too happened, I was just crying. I was driving and I was listening to it on the radio being explained, and I was just crying because I was just like, wow, on behalf of like all my models, ever since I started this, I knew, it's like I was crying for all of us. Like I just knew that this is a day we dreamt of and would like joke about this kind of thing happening, but never thought in our lifetime that we would like live to see it and to be part of it. And then take it a step further. Now we're seeing race and size and age and differences being, standards that have been so set in the industry so long being broken down, like how they're like similar to how they're the politicians are being like, you know, a system that's being challenged, like they're breaking down the statues from those days of that mindset. Well, I see it the same way, and that's happening in the industry by them breaking down the standards of like those days or those mindsets. No, now it's 2020, and we're all a lot more educated and awakened, and
also we found our voice, haven't we? We're not scared to speak out. We've found our voices, haven't we? Everybody.
Yeah, well, finally, though, we've been we were shut up in the beginning of my first 20 years of modeling, maybe, like, and there's still certain things I'm getting out of, like, okay, wait, I can share that, or I can, no, I need to share that, because a lot of it, you're just told to, like, do this, do that, not talk about this, not talk about that, don't share that, don't share this, and now, Christiana said it herself. She's like, now the more differences you have to share, the better. She said every time she shares a quirky thing about her, she like people love it, and she gets more followers, or if not jobs or something. And so I'm trying to embrace that side too, because as a model in the 80s and 90s, you're so kind of engraved into like trying to be the standard that they're setting forth, so you keep getting work. But now that the standards are being broken, it's almost like we can, no, almost it is a time we can create our own work.
It's freeing, isn't it? It's freeing.
And you and Christiana, I both have seen beautiful content that you guys just make out on your day, out and about in New York, and just it looks like a catalog shot, but then I read it and I see that, you know, you're talking as if you're out, and I can't really tell, is it a real it doesn't matter because it looks great. And so even just in us being models and having this Instagram, social media, virtual platforms options that we do, at first I didn't like it so much because it took away from, like, we had physical portfolios we'd have to have. And I still miss those, but now the pandemic has really made me just embrace everything virtually. And so I've been really appreciating and diving into Instagram in a different way. And I really love what you're doing and what Christiana and like the body positives,
there's so many aspiring people on social media now, I find.
The diverse model, women empowerment, and some men too, but a lot of women. You guys are just on fire, and I love it. And that's honestly what I'm hearing that the brands are looking for now. They want this authentic, even the content created to be more authentic. So I've been trying to take like my portfolio-ish shots off my Instagram, which has been hard for me because I've been using it as a portfolio. But Christiana's teaching me how to like kind of maneuver it into like
real you.
But also this content creator, and so that's where it's going. And if we try to fight that, it's going to be frustrating, and it's already been so frustrating. Fighting the ageism, fighting racism, fighting technical knowledgeism, whatever, all these isms that have come up that keep us from getting work or growing in our art, it's not beneficial, and it's no longer needed. So as long as we can get past whatever ism it is, like together as a collective, which this whole virtual stuff is allowing a lot of that.
It's amazing. I mean, I'm so glad that we have, because, you know, we wouldn't have connected without Instagram, which is an amazing thing. I love it.
It's like if coal fuels more fire. And exactly. Like all of us, as these conversations happen, there's more desire for it that happens from those, from the sides who hire and who are looking. And, you know, they're all in quarantine right now too, you know, they're all confused, but they're all noticing that fire when it's created, however it's created. I think they feel it. I think some pick up on conversations or our content messages, but it also creates that energy, and I know they're picking up on it, because then when I hear from the other side, from like any of the people who I know who are hiring, and I get on some of those conversations through SAG or whatever, that's what I hear. And I'm like, oh, that's what I just talked about with Christiana or with Rachel or all these other models. So it's really it's our time. Actually, a casting director I was on a call with last week, it's a casting director for some big things. She's saying now it's not even like all bets are off as far as like has to be like this, has to be like that. They're wanting self-tape submissions from home, like clearly from an authentic home. They don't want the backdrops. They don't want it to look professional.
No, absolutely right. They want home shots. Yeah.
They're like, they want, and they're looking, she said that when they're on their Instagram, they use it for like connection, for their own personal connections of family and friends. But then when they like look on it, they're looking for talent that inspires them. Yeah. And right now, content being made from anyone who's like showing that it's like authentically made or done at home or done, quarantine style or social distance style or whatever, if you can like connect it with that, then that's what they're wanting. Yeah. They want to see that in all their talent, and they don't even care where you live now. That's what she said. That blew my mind, because forever, ever, I thought first is the market. That's why I went straight to New York and straight to LA. And I only work in like major markets unless I happen to be in another one, because I feel like I've always felt like market is so important. Like if you're not in a major market, then like might as well not even bother. No, now they're saying it doesn't matter where you are right now, as long as you can get something authentically, virtually self-submitted to us.
Yeah, it will change. Yeah.
Then
it's going to change the whole direction.
We can fit it into the budget from the clients. The clients have the budget. That's like the least of their worries right now, especially. Yeah. And I was floored at that, because I didn't think that would ever change, but all the other changes that have happened, like, I guess I shouldn't be surprised at that one. But so, what do you think? And I hope this is encouraging to you and everyone else who hears it, who has struggled with ageism pre-pandemic, because I know I did. And I mean, I'm coming upon 40. So I'm like, I've been dealing with like, how do I rebrand myself and not let ageism kill my entire career and just like end it all now? How do I keep going and rebrand, to reform, to keep going?
But I think you're just true to yourself. I think if you are just true to yourself and been yourself, then your age doesn't come into it.
And that's now the conversation. Yeah. I mean, you could tell me that before, and I'm like, I know, I get it, but like, still, like, how do I? No, I still need to do something, and I was still like using my smaller size, my lower age, and still like, still not embracing who I am now.
My 40s was my best decade.
Yeah, but the pandemic has changed the whole mentality of the whole ball game, and exactly what you said is like what I've actually currently, since the pandemic, have been working on and hearing from other models, other clients, casting directors, agents, etc., is that they are wanting us to embrace everything about us, and not have this like, no idea, it has to be like this or that or the other. Like, they don't want that manufacturedness.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. I could talk to you for so much longer. It really is. It's positive. How can people find out about you, Alexandria? Where can they? Have your website, social media?
I love using Instagram. I have Facebook too, but my Instagram and my Facebook is both my name, but the Instagram is the @ and then the name is lowercase and it's all together. So it's @Alexandria Morrow, and it's all together lowercase, and Morrow like tomorrow, but no two. and Alexandria with an I. So if you separate it, capitalize it on Facebook, then you'll find me. And my website is my name altogether, but .com.
Brilliant.
And yeah, I love helping other models. So if any of you models, actors, dancers, other performers, you're my people. So Rachel knows that most of the people we surround ourselves with are helpful performers as well. So if you ever want to connect with others, reach out to me and I can help connect you with any of the other groups. I'll give Rachel the information for the hotline.
That'd be great.
And for the No Pay No Runway. And if you ever have any questions, I'm open. Of course, if Rachel can't answer them, I'll try to help. But we're all about helping each other. And I'm so excited to see that mentality being adopted really rapidly this year. And to everyone who's going through anything rough because of all of this, you're not alone. We all are, but we're all going to come out stronger, because this has been a year of everyone going within and embracing themselves and working on themselves, and now coming out embracing each other more than ever as well. And I feel that bubbling. And I know that is going to help all of us, every age, every type of model. There's so many types of models now. If you ever need help figuring out which type you are, you can ask me, Christiana, Rachel. It's really, there's no limit right now. It's not even a limit of where you are in the market. As long as you have virtual access and you can create on Instagram and you can present yourself well, you have something true and authentic to offer, that's the new role model, and that's what's in. So there's hope for everyone.
Anything's possible.
Yeah, and the more different, the more authentic, the more raw, the better. And we've always known that in our hearts. But now it's becoming a trend, and it's going to just go into becoming the way. It's the way this year for sure. Everyone's whoa, but it's going to pave the new way for after all of this. So we're going to go into a new world with more opportunity than any of us have ever seen. And I'm hearing that from the hirees, from the ones I've been able to hear or listen to or ask advice from. So it isn't just a feeling, it's reality. So don't give up. Now's the time. Take what you have and share it, and reach out and connect with others who are doing the same, and then just pay it forward, right? As you help others. And all of us, especially in this industry and especially in this day and age in this world, need each other now more than ever. So
absolutely. Thank you so much, Alexandra. What a beautiful soul you are.
But in the general sense, in the whole world, now's your time, baby.
And yours. And I'm going to let you.
Everything's different now.
Yeah, I look forward to watching your progress, and I'm going to let you go off and finish your yoga.
Me too with you. I love watching your progress every day, and I love tuning into your stories, and I can't wait to tune into this one.
Yeah, and enjoy the rest of your yoga session, because I know you've done half of it, so go back and do it. And have a lovely weekend, and take care, and it's just lovely to connect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon. Bye, Rachel.